Welcome to Gunnar Weiskamp's Web Development. Today we're in Lesson 8. We're looking at C Sharp structures and enums. So what are structures, I guess? They do have many similarities with classes, but with the below differences. Structures do not support inheritance. Classes are reference type, while structures are value types. And in this demo we will be highlighting that fact and having a look at that. Structures cannot have a default constructor. What are enums? Enums allow you to write better identifiable code constructs, and they are a value data type. But we'll see that with an example. Okay. So today I'm creating a console application using Visual Studio 2013. So if you want to create this example, just go to New, Projects. Make sure this guy is set when it comes up. I am using Framework 4.5, and make sure you pick a console application and then just press OK. Alright, so step 1 is we grab some code. Right, and let's go to Visual Studio. Right, okay, let's have a bit of a look to see what we've got. So here we've got a struct. This is where we're creating a struct, and it's defined with the struct keyword. If you've used classes or you've seen my other tutorials on classes, the internals of it looks quite similar. You can pass in parameters, you can use a function within a struct, but as mentioned, you can't do inheritance kind of constructor, and it passes by value rather than reference. But apart from that, roughly, yeah, they're quite similar. I'm not really going to say when is a good time to use structs compared to classes. I find that in some sophisticated environments in companies, there's probably plenty of errors, maybe, but in a lot of reasonably sized companies, you might find that difficult to find that differential between classes and structs. So what we're going to do with this struct is here in our main, we're just simply going to create the struct here, and then we're going to call the getBookData function, which is here, and print out the contents, which is returned by print out the contents when we give each of these parameters a name, which is going to be a book title, the book author, and the year it was published. So that's it really. Let's give this a go. There we go, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, 1995. Technically, I could have got the 1995 wrong. But anyway, I got the author and the book right. So anyway, that's beside the point. So that's, a bog standard quick look at some struct code. Okay, so let's have a look at a enum next. I will be showing the difference between classes and structs in the last one. But right now let's just do an example of an enum. Where am I? Okay, so I need to grab that code and I need to put it in here. Okay, so up above we've got our enum there. Let's get rid of him for now. All we're doing here is this well, first of all, you call an enum using the enum keyword. Then you can give this enum any descriptive name that you want. We're going to use it to represent the months of the year, as you can see. Enums, well, the text is there. Behind them, they're represented by a number. Enums, by default, start from 0. So this will be 0. This gen will be a value 0. This will be the 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. So enum, as a default, start at 0. All we're going to do in here is allow the user to enter which month they were born in, obviously a value between 1 and 12. We're going to take in that value here into this variable here. Then we're going to use the switch statement to check that information, and then we're going to use this enum process here as described here. So we're going to look at this enum to see if they've entered a value of 1, 2, etc., etc. I haven't filled out the whole year there for the code. As you can see, we're only going to do January and February just to demonstrate the process. But this will not work exactly as we're going to expect. I want to make that an obvious thing, because I'm going to put in the first, and we're expecting it to go in here, this part of the code, but it won't do that. So I'm going to put in number 1, and we're expecting it to go in Jan, but it'll go in Feb. You're born in Feb. Now, why is that? Because as I mentioned, enums start at a default 0. So we've gone in the code here, and January is actually 0, so when it compares 1 to 0 it won't work, and Feb is 1, and it will work. So if we now change that to probably be a more correct value, so you can set these enums the values that you want. See, here I am setting it to 1, so now this one becomes 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. So now if I put in 1, we'll go into the Jan area of the code. Okay, let's put in 1. You're born in Jan. There we go. It's gone in correctly now. So in these sort of examples, when using enums, you have to remember that it does start with 0, and if the enum is not meant to work in that fashion, you have to cater for that. So as you can see with enums, you can use them to make your code more identifiable, because you can use this enum in lots of different program areas, and you always know it's going to have months of the year. You could have some sort of array which has 1, 2, 3, 4, but this allows to have a more descriptive code set in a way. Okay, so it's a bit about enum. Now we are going to demonstrate the differences between using classes and structures, and all this palaver about passing value and reference. So there is a bit of code here. It's not a huge amount. So we've got a class here declared, and we've got a struct here declared. Let's make that a bit smaller. And obviously each have got its own little variable or property. And then we've got this function here, another class here declared, but he's got a function called do stuff. very descriptive. So this function is just going to, I've just named that because it's going to do stuff. So what it's going to do is it's going to accept a class and a structure. It's going to change the value of the class and the structure parameters, and then it's going to print that out on the screen. So that's all that this do stuff function is going to do. Here in our main, we're just declaring all our classes, the structure of the class, and the class that's going to do the function. So first in our main, we're going to set the struct and the class both to 1. And we're going to print that out on the screen, the values there. It's going to separate all our information by this line character here. Now we're going to go in our do stuff function, our funky function, and we're going to go in here and we're going to change these contents from struct 1, class 1, to class 2 and struct 2, and that'll be printed out on the screen. So at this stage we're expecting class 2 and struct 2 to be printed to the screen. Now once we come out of our function, what's happened to our values? Now we're expecting, or if you're new to this, you'd probably expect class 2 and struct 2 to be printed out again. But because one is being passed by value and one is being passed by reference, that's not going to happen. The difference with reference is at the memory address. of the object is being passed wherever it goes. And that means in a function, so that means in this function, the class's memory address gets passed. So its memory address gets changed. While here struct, it's being passed by value. And so when it comes out here, its value will not have been updated. And what you'll see here instead is still this struct1 come out. So let's just build that. And maybe seeing the output might give you a better sense of understanding. So let's just make that a little bit smaller. Can I do that? So we can see the code in the output. Class 1, struct1, and that's created here and printed out here. Then we go into our function, which we're changing the values here, and they're printed out the screen, just like we thought they would. But now, after the function's called, here in this area, we're printing them out again, and you'll see that the class 2 has changed, and it remains changed, but the struct has gone back to its old self here in this area. That's because the struct here, this value here, didn't actually change once it's come out of the function. So you can see the demonstration here, in the contents, that you would have expected struct here to be struct2 as well. And that's the big difference between, well, not the big difference, but one of the mentioned differences between classes and struct. And you have to be aware of that when using them. Because, well, you can imagine the things that might go wrong. Okay, I hope that was educational. Please subscribe to my channel, and hope to see you next time. Bye.